Hey everybody, Rachel Ray here. In every class for our very first cooking camp together, we're gonna cook together, not just us, but a lot of my friends. You guys are gonna learn so many great techniques. You're gonna have so much fun, and at the end, you get to eat and share it with all the people you love. And you know what I love? Everything we're doing together is gonna benefit the Boys and Girls Club of America and a brand new scholarship project. So we're doing well for others while we're making great food and doing well for ourselves and the people that we love. Thank you to all of our sponsors for making this possible. Game on, let's turn up the heat.
Hi everyone, I'm really excited about this one. Campers, please show some of that super comforting cooking camp spirit and help me give a huge welcome to the counselor who literally wrote the book on comfort foods. Today's guest, Carla Hall. Carla, welcome.
Oh my God, hi everybody, how are you? I am super excited. I'm so excited that I have on a watermelon skirt. So Randy, thank you for that amazing word, watermelon-licious. Come on, and you were doing a jingle. Okay, so I have to step in like this. When I say watermelon, you say licious. Watermelon.
Licious.
Watermelon.
Licious.
Okay. I can't even tell you how much I love camp. So when Rachel Ray invited me to do this, I'm like, yes. But I didn't realize that when I said yes, I was going to be in a hotel room and with a kitchenette. So I'm telling you all exactly where I am. That's how easy this recipe is to prepare. So this is the hood, and I'm 6 feet tall. So it's not that I'm so tall, the hood is low. But I needed to bring you over to the stove because we're gonna make a blueberry watermelon pop. That's what we're making, blueberry watermelon pops. And I have to make the blueberry simple syrup on the stove. But before I get started, I want to talk about some of the equipment that I have. I have a cutting board, and my cutting board is sitting on the stove because I had to MacGyver this. So what I'm going to do is to take a paper towel, even if you're not working on a stove like I am and you'll be working on your counter, let's wet this paper towel so that our cutting boards will not move. That's going to keep us really safe. So I'm going to just put a little water on my paper towel. It's fairly wet. And then I'm going to put it under, I need some more. I'm going to put it under my cutting board so that it doesn't move around and I'm not chasing my food. This is very unorthodox for me to be cooking like this, but we're making it work. That's what camp is about. Oh, that's so much better. Okay. So the next thing that I have is a microplane because we're going to be using the zest of a lime. I have a microplane, but it's okay if you don't have a microplane because you can use a peeler. This is a heart peeler, but if you don't have a heart peeler, you can just get a regular peeler. There are so many different things that you can use to get the zest out of a lime or citrus or orange or grapefruit. So these, okay? The next thing I have are measuring cups. I have a dry measure and a wet measure. I'm having water, and this will be for the sugar. So dry and wet measure, okay? Okay. I know you know all of these things, but I figure I should go through them. The other thing that I have is a strainer. This is your friend. At first, I was gonna bring out a food processor, but as this is not my kitchen, I don't need a food processor. I'm gonna make it work without a food processor, without a blender, without something that needs electricity, because I have this thing. And a bigger, this could be a bowl, but I have another measuring cup, okay? And I have parchment paper. Parchment paper, wax paper will do. We're gonna need this little baby because we don't want those blueberry watermelon popsicles to stick on our what? Sheet pan. This is the tiniest sheet, Randy, this is the tiniest sheet pan I've ever had in life. But let me tell you, you have to make it work. So you all probably have bigger sheet pans. I'm not measuring, but I'm happy for you. Okay, but I'm gonna use these little babies. What else do I have? Okay, oh, and a spatula. I have a rubber spatula. This is gonna come in handy. Oh my gosh, and the most important thing, I didn't tell you. Randy, do you know what the most important thing is?
I have a feeling you're about to pull it out.
Tasting spoons.
Ah.
Tasting spoons, you all. Tasting spoons. You have to taste your food, because when nature gives you an ingredient, nature changes it up sometimes. So nature gives you something sweet sometimes, something not so sweet sometimes. So tasting spoons. A recipe is only a guide. So that is why you need to taste your food to see if it's where you want it to be. All right, so we have our tasting spoons. Now, we're gonna start with our blueberry simple syrup. I have my blueberries here and they're already washed. Look at them. Don't they look good and nice and fresh? But let's taste them. Right? Blueberries that make you dance. This is blueberry-licious. We have watermelon-licious. This is blueberry-licious. Oh my God, they are so good.
They look so plump. This is the perfect time for blueberries. They're coming out. Yeah.
All right. So the first thing we're going to do is put our water into a small pot. Oh, pot. We need pot. I didn't even list that in all the things that we need. We need a pot. Water. You see how I poured that like a champ? I bet you all are really good at that. 1 cup of water. Now I'm going to take my dry measure and my sugar. This is a 1/2 cup. I actually travel with measuring cups. Don't ask. But you never know when you're going to be making a blueberry watermelon pop in a hotel room. So I travel with these. I am going to measure. This is a 1/2 cup. And I need 1 more to make it a full cup. How are you all at fractions? If you have a 3rd cup, how many of these would you need to make a cup? Exactly. Thank you for answering. At least 1,000 of you got that right. Okay. All right. So there we go. I'm going to turn this on. Because I have to work on my stove. Now, I'm going to stir this with my spatula just to get it going. Now, this is a very simple, straightforward, simple syrup. Equal parts sugar and water, right? I live with this stuff. You're drinking iced tea in the summertime. If you're from the South or other parts of the world and you want it sweet, this is what you have so that you don't have to dissolve the sugar in your cold iced tea. This is perfect. What we're going to do is to put these blueberries into this pot because we want to flavor our simple syrup, right?
Carla, we got a question from Callie. She wants to know, is it okay if we use a mixture of fresh and frozen fruit for this recipe?
Oh, 100%. 100%. So if you don't have access to the fresh blueberries or they weren't looking that great, the frozen ones are always perfectly perfect because they are frozen at the peak of freshness. Frozen blueberries are great. And let me tell you, you don't even have to use blueberries. So think about what goes with watermelon, okay? Blueberries go great with watermelon. Strawberries go great with watermelon. Ginger goes great with watermelon. Whatever you want to play with, whatever flavor combination. I mean, I have some peaches. I've never done peaches and watermelon, but can I tell you, this peach right now smells so good. I would try it. What I would do is take the same amount as a pint of blueberries, and you can measure those to see how much it is in cups. Take another fruit, cut it up, and then put it in there, and then you're gonna push it through. If you have something that, let's say it's kind of hard, you may have to use your blender to make it smooth and then you strain it, but please feel free to use different kinds of fruits. But even if they're frozen, so you can get frozen peaches, frozen strawberries, you can get a frozen fruit blend like strawberries and blueberries. Like what? I mean, watermelon-licious with another fruit-licious? What? I mean, come on.
All right, well, since we're talking about substitutions for that, Juliana wanted to know, can you sub maple syrup for the sugar?
Yeah, I don't see why you can't. Now, because you're using maple syrup, do you like maple syrup on your watermelon? You have to decide that. You may want to use honey, but realizing that when you substitute that maple syrup or honey or agave, not so much agave, you're adding a flavor. So then you have to balance that flavor. But 100% date sugar, you can absolutely substitute your sweetener.
Gotcha.
Oh, and this is an opportunity. Let's say if you don't want to use a lot of sugar and you want to back off on the sugar and you really just want the fruit to speak for itself, then I would use less water, no sugar, and then the blueberries can just do what they're going to do, right? But you're also hoping that watermelon is sweet. We're going to talk about the watermelon in a minute because I haven't been really successful in having a sweet watermelon. Okay, so let's talk about lime. When we are cooking fruit and when you're making a sweet cobbler, when you have something sweet, you need balance. And I always add acid. An acid is like citrus. So in this case, we're going to do lime. I wish I could juggle this and really impress you all, but I cannot. I will be dropping these. But the reason I grabbed 3 limes is because sometimes we, how do you pick a lime? Do you all know how to pick a lime? Randy, how do you pick a lime at the store?
That's a good question. I usually give it a little bit of a squeeze. I smell it to make sure it's very fragrant. And I look for something that's very green, but maybe none of those are the points.
Some of those are the points. You can't, during COVID, we can't smell our food anymore at the grocery store. So,
True story.
we try to smell it through a mask. So what I do, and definitely squeeze it. You want something that feels like, what do you want out of the citrus? You want liquid. And so you want to be able to squeeze it so it's soft and it's not hard. Also, when I'm looking for limes or oranges or lemons in the store, I look for the weight. So I am taking my lime. I'm like, which is the heavy one? And this one is kind of hard and it's not that heavy. So I imagine that all of the juice is dried up. I wouldn't buy this lime, but this one is nice and soft and it's heavy. I bet it has lots of juice. This lime is going home with me. Okay. So what we're going to do is take our microplane and I'm going to just zest over here. And we only want the colorful part. We only want the green. That is where all the flavor is. And as you zest, it just smells so delicious. Mm-hmm. So you can see that limes are very, very bitter. The pith is very bitter. So I only want the green. And if you want to use your peeler, then you're just going to go very lightly and just take off the green part. Try not to press too hard on your lime, okay? Because you only want the green part. This is such a great peeler. I'm loving this peeler. I just have to tell you. So what I will do with these pieces is put my zest into my pot of the blueberries and the sugar and the water. And now it's coming up to a boil. I'm going to show you how. Now this is coming up to a boil. Look at this. I have to move this over to you. Oh, so wow. It's boiling. Can you see it?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. So that's starting to boil. And you know what happens when blueberries pop? When they start to boil? I mean, I actually gave you the answer. That was a trick question. So
I know. Blueberries how about they pop? They pop. How about they pop?
Oh my God, Randy, you're so smart. That's exactly what happens. You know what this reminds me of? In the holidays, around Thanksgiving, what do you cook like this?
Cranberries?
Cranberries. Cranberries. So when they start to boil, they pop. And so what I'm going to do, now that they're boiling, I'm turning down the heat and I'm going to allow them to continue to cook. And then they're going to pop, and that's going to be my simple syrup. And it's just going to be really delicious. Oh, but wait, we forgot to add, I did. I need the juice. So I'm going to cut my lime in half. And here's another trick. I didn't even tell you that you needed this, but I'm going to take out some tongs. Are you excited, Randy, about this?
I like that. Some of our campers may have seen that in an earlier segment, but I love the consistency.
See, when it's done twice, it's right. More than one person knows about it. So that means it's a good thing. So I'm going to just put my lime in here and then I'm going to squeeze. And I'm going to hope that the whole thing doesn't fall into my pot.
Get on that beautiful skirt of yours.
I know, right? All right. And you know, all of this, because this is a soft lime, it's so easy. If my lime was hard, it just might pop out, but it is so easy to, what's happening here? Okay, hold on. Okay. Easy-ish. All right, so I'm gonna do the other half because we really want that, that acid. And I wish I had asked you to taste it before we put the lime in here, so you can tell why we put the lime in. One of the things that I think that as you are learning to cook and you're starting to cook, before you put another ingredient in, taste what you have made so far and even put a little bit aside and then add another ingredient so you can understand how that ingredient changed your dish, and then put it aside, and then you can see the progression of your dish. That's how you learn how to use salt, use acid, use sweetener. That's how you learn, because you understand how it changes a dish. So this is looking really good. This is such a simple recipe, and I am milking this, truly. Okay.
Anna is adding mint to hers. Kiara just asked if you can add mint. Mint sounds like it would be a perfect complement for this dish.
Mint would be perfect, and I have some, but I'm not gonna run behind the camera to get it. Mint would be fantastic. I love herbs with fruit. It is so incredible, and that herbaceousness. You know what also might be great, and that's tarragon. Tarragon could be really good. If you're gonna do strawberries instead of blueberries, basil would be fantastic.
Those herbs really do give it a great thumbprint of that flavor. Love that.
And this is also how I feel that people create something and make it your own. I'm just giving you the base and ideas and what you do with it. And I'm so glad that you all are being creative and just going in your own direction. That's what cooking is about, you know, and you can cover it if you want to. I'm not going to, because I want to just see what's happening. And also, honestly, the color looks good in my video. Ready?
That's called art direction, campers.
I know, right? All right, let's talk about watermelon. So how many of you all have been eating watermelon all summer long? I know I have. When you go to the store and there's just like this huge cardboard box full of watermelons. And how do you pick a watermelon? You know, and I ended up cutting this one last night, but you know, you thump it, you like, do you hear that?
Yeah.
That hollow thumping. I look for a watermelon, and it's really hard to find unless you're going to a farmer's market and you know the farmer who has grown your for your watermelons. So I look for this little patch. This patch here is where the watermelon has been sitting in the watermelon patch. I mean, it's a watermelon patch, but it's been sitting in the patch. And you want this little piece here to be yellow. The yellower this is, the longer your watermelon has been sitting and getting ripe. If this is white, it hasn't been sitting that long, and your watermelon was taken out of the ground before it really had a chance to get sweetness and ripe, okay? And then you also, just like the lime, watermelon is over 90% water, so it should feel heavy. If it doesn't feel heavy, then it probably doesn't have enough water in it, and you don't really want that one. And there are some other tricks and everything, but those are the main ones. All right, so I cut my watermelon in half, and I don't have a big knife. I mean, and we have to be very careful as you are cutting a watermelon. You should probably get an adult to do it, because you have to move your knife. So you can see that my knife does not extend beyond my watermelon, which means I'm gonna have to cut from this side and turn it to cut from another side. So with my half, I'm gonna just cut straight down like this. And then I'm gonna cut down. And it's not perfect, I'm gonna tell you. It is not perfect, but that is okay. That is okay, because why? Water, what? Licious. When I say watermelon, you say licious. Watermelon.
Licious.
Watermelon.
Licious.
See, Randy, I love, camp is all about the songs. Camp is all about the songs. So
there's nothing better than a great song contest. We may have to end tomorrow with a camp song contest, Carla.
Oh, you guys, you have to think of a really great song. Truly. All right. So I have my wedge, and what I'm going to do is just slice my wedge straight down. I want my wedges to be about 1 inch thick. And it depends on how large your watermelon is. I got about a 5-pound watermelon. You can get a smaller watermelon. Honestly, if you don't like watermelon, I mean, who are you? Just kidding. But if you want to get a honeydew or a cantaloupe, you would do wedges, and you can probably do something very similar. But the texture will be very different than the watermelon. So cut straight down, and this is just a taste, just to see how sweet my watermelon is. And then I'm just going to measure and just cut straight down. So I have these wedges. Okay. Okay. So this is basically going to be our watermelon pop. If you want to do a different shape, if you want to do something that is long, that's fine. I like to keep the rind on because this is what you're going to be holding. All right. So how is you all's watermelon? I'm going to taste mine. Let me just see. How does this taste? Mmm. Mmm.
Did you pick it? Did you get a good pick? Plenty of yellow, plenty of thumping, plenty of weight.
Okay. I chose well. And you know, you never know. It's like a lottery, right? When you pick a watermelon and you're like, no, it's not sweet. But let me tell you, it doesn't matter, because if you're putting a simple syrup into it and you're adding another flavor, it really doesn't matter. But what you do want is that texture of watermelon. You don't want to open it up and it's all mealy inside. So this is a really great watermelon. So I'm going to take, I have these little sheet pans, because that's what I have. And I'm going to put down some of, I'm going to put down some of our parchment paper. So grab your parchment paper or wax paper. And if you don't have parchment or wax paper, even some plastic wrap, that will be fine too. The reason that you want to do this, because when your watermelon will freeze, you don't want it to stick. You want to be able to just take it right off of the sheet pan. So tear a piece. That's about the size that you need. And I'm going to fold this in half because this is big enough for 2 sheet trays, because I have the smallest sheet trays in the world. It's a 1/8. You know how you have a half pan? Have you all heard chefs talk about, oh, let me grab a half pan sheet tray? And then there's a 1/4 pan. Well, this is an 1/8 pan. This is the 1/8 of a full-size sheet pan.
That's for a toothbrush and a hairbrush by your bedside.
I know, right? Can I tell you, do you know what I made last night? I am getting so much good use out of this little hotel room. I made some cornbread in these little pans, and I've also made biscuits. That's a whole other camp for next year. We'll have to make some biscuits, y'all.
Yeah, and also we'd like to learn how to pick a peach, because that's another fruit that sometimes when you get home, you're like, oh no, I blew it, you know? It is ironic that you are using the smallest pan for one of the largest fruits that we know to mankind. That's irony.
Isn't it? Isn't it irony?
That's life. Make the best of it.
That's life.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do, and this is how you all make it work. So you go one way, and then if you go the other way, you can actually get 2 pieces. So you make the small pan work for you, okay?
Gotcha. Just like a yep.
Oh my gosh, it is super funny. Okay.
Well, you were talking about how sweet. You were talking about how sweet that melon is. Victoria wants to actually throw some spice into her recipe. What type of chili?
Oh!
What should she use? What do you think? What type of chili would give her some spice?
Oh my God, Victoria. Okay. When I think about spice and I think about spice fruit, watermelon loves spice. So if you want to throw some chilies into your blueberry mixture, I mean, a habanero, I know it's spicy, but it is also fruity. Habanero, Scotch bonnet, slit it, don't cut it up, don't take out the seeds, take that little pepper, slit it, and throw it into your blueberry mixture. So then what you're gonna get is the essence of the spice, and then you're going to have all of that spice go in there, and then take it out, make sure you take it out. Remember that it's in there, and because we're gonna strain this, take it out, and you're gonna have this beautiful spice. You can, jalapeno, that could be very interesting. When you said spice though, Victoria, like Randy, you know what I thought about? I thought about mango and spice, and then the watermelon. Peaches love spice. You can also use chili flakes. So I actually have, I loaned them to, Duff Goldman is upstairs. I loaned him my chili flakes. He was making some chili. Okay. So chili flakes would be amazing and very simple, and something that you have in your pantry already. So you can just put the chili flakes in there. And I think that's such a great idea. I didn't even think about it. This is why I love cooking in groups. It's so great.
Right?
So
Yep.
great. So now what we're going to do, I have a skewer, and a toothpick will work. If you don't have a toothpick or a skewer, a fork will work. So what we're going to do is, while we're waiting for our blueberry simple syrup, we're going to prick little holes into our watermelon. Now, I don't go all the way through, because if I go all the way through, when I put the blueberry syrup in, it's just going to go out the other side. So I go kind of halfway, just a few, about 6 or so. This is such a great thing that you can have somebody who's young, who can't really handle a knife. They can be the pricker. Prick, 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 prick. I mean, you can hold their hands so they don't prick themselves. Prick, 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 prick. Now I'm going to turn the watermelon pieces over. Just like that. Okay. Prick, 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 prick. Somehow that doesn't sound right. So I'm not going to keep saying that over and over again.
Although we may be able to work it into our song contest, Carla. We'll see if it
Oh,
makes
right.
Yes.
I want to hear those creative, you know, honestly, I want to hear somebody make up a rap about watermelon, blueberries, about your Yummo camp experience. That would be amazing. And you can take some of the sounds of the kitchen.
Ah.
Right?
Love it. Love that idea.
100%.
All right, campers, that's your assignment. Come up with a rap.
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
It'll be so good. So good. All right. So now that we have this done, we can set this aside. This is how we treated our watermelon. And then you can do as many pieces or as few pieces as you want. Sometimes if you don't have a lot of space in your refrigerator or your freezer, see, this little pan is where you would probably wish that you would have it. So if you don't have a lot of space in your refrigerator and you don't have these baking sheets, what you can do is take a zip top bag, and sort of, once we get them all ready, you can place them in a zip top bag. That way you can stack them. So that's another way. I'm always trying to find space in my freezer. All right, so let me move this aside. Okay, and move. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. So everything worked cleanly, right? Cooking is also about working clean. And so I'm always thinking about how I can take things out of my way. So now we're going to taste, for the first time, we're going to taste our blueberry simple syrup. And what we're looking for is sweet. And now, mind you, we're also looking for that acid, but this is going to go on something that is very watery. So this is a syrup that can flavor things. And then we'll talk about what else we can do with this. So I'm going to taste it. The color is beautiful. Look at this color. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, that's gorgeous. That is beautiful. Wow.
I'm so excited.
There's that dance again.
Oh, blueberry-licious, y'all. Seriously, are you all making this? Oh my gosh, blueberry-licious. And now, because you've gotten me so excited about the herbs and the spice, when I leave you, I'm going to add spice to mine. I'm going to make another whole batch with some tarragon. I have mint. Oh, so good. Okay. Whew. Okay. I'm going to surprise you all with another ingredient that I'm going to put in here. With watermelon, a lot of you all, especially in the South, you add, sometimes people add spice. Sometimes they add salt to watermelon. And why do you add salt to watermelon? Just a touch, because it brings out the sweetness. I'm going to add just a touch, I mean, like just a titch, like, of salt in this. Just a little bit, tiny bit, tiny bit. I'm going to look at, I mean, this here is too much. So, but I poured it in my hand because I'm going to use just a pinch, like just a pinch. And I want you all to put some of this aside and then add the salt. And you shouldn't taste salt. You should not taste salt. But I'm just going to add just a little bit, just a little bit. I'm going to stir it up, and then I'm going to taste it again. What we're going to see is that the flavors are more rounded. Okay. Okay. Whew. I am breathless with excitement. I want you all to know. Okay.
Campers, be careful with that hot liquid there. Make sure you.
Oh yeah, please be careful. Be careful. Okay.
I think the look says it all.
So good, Randy. It's so good. It is so good. Oh my gosh. Okay. So what we're gonna do? You're gonna have a bowl. This is all I have. Oh, actually, you know what? I'm not gonna use that little thing because that's not smart. I'm going to get. Oh, hold on. Where is it? This is real. I did dishes this morning. So I'm going to grab a bowl. I'm going to put my strainer on top of it, and I'm going to carefully ladle or spoon, because there's no ladle in my room. Oh, hold on. Is there a ladle? Oh, there is a ladle. There's a ladle. Make sure that the stove is off. Okay, I have a ladle. So what I'm going to do is ladle my blueberry mixture into my strainer. It smells so good. This is a watery, almost what we would have as a pie filling, but we're using it as a simple syrup. And so let's talk about, while I'm straining this, what other things I can do with this. I mentioned the tea earlier. I mentioned how I have simple syrup in the refrigerator all summer long, and I just do different flavors. I might do a ginger simple syrup. I might do actually a simple syrup with a tea bag, so that is the base of my tea, and then I add sparkling water. So in this case, I would have this syrup in my refrigerator for my own little sodas. So you can make your own sodas. You've controlled your sugar. You know exactly the kind of sugar you put in here. Have a sparkling lime or lemon seltzer water, and it would be delicious. And then you can have some mint, smack the mint, and it would be so delicious. So what I'm doing now is smashing my blueberries into this, so I have all of that pectin that is naturally in blueberries goes into my simple syrup. So when it cools down, it's going to be this beautiful silky texture. Randy, it's going to be so good.
I love the way that's coming out. It looks gorgeous from this side. Love that color. Wow.
It is such a beautiful blue. And I'm going to tell you, if you're in white, careful. Oh my gosh, it smells amazing. And I can only imagine, if you're using herbs, how delicious that would be. All right, so I'm just gonna mash it, so you all can see, just until everything feels like it's coated. And then I go back with my rubber spatula and I get all of that pulp that's on the bottom of my strainer. And you see how that's just running down? That's just beautiful thickness. If somebody in your family is also making jam, this would be a nice little base, or pies. You can use this in a pie, a blueberry pie, with fresh fruit. So you can add cinnamon and other lemon, or it would be delicious. If you're making Pop-Tarts, I don't know why I'm talking about these things, but I'm just getting excited about it.
Your blueberry stream of consciousness kicking in.
Yes. And that's what happens. That's why I love that we're doing this, and there's so many different people and from all over the world. And what you might do with blueberries in one country could be completely different in another country. So please share what you would do in your culture with blueberries, or like in your country, and how you would change that. So here is my beautiful mixture, and I have to let this cool because I don't want to put this hot mixture on my watermelon. So I want you all to see. I have one here that I made last week, and I've been eating it, and I was like, oh shoot, I need this for my Yummo kids camp. I want you to see how the viscosity of it, like, look at that.
Wow, wow, really
it's It's really thickens up, and that's with that natural pectin. Okay. So what we're going to do, we have this. Now, if you have a brush, like a pastry brush, a rubber brush would be great. Actually, one of those rubber brushes would be, like silicone brushes would be great because it's not going to get stained with the blueberries. You're going to take that, dip it into our blueberry mixture, and then flip it over. As I have said, I'm kind of in a hotel. I don't have that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a paper towel. I'm going to take a couple of paper towels. And then I'm going to make kind of a brush. Okay, so I'm just going to fold it, and this is what I have. This is what I'm going to use as my brush. This is me making it work. So you don't need any special equipment. It's okay if you don't have a brush. If you do have a brush, that's nice. So I'm going to dip the blueberry mixture into the paper towel, into the blueberry mixture, and dab on. And I'm fairly generous, staying right on top. And where I put the holes, it's going to accept all of this blueberry goodness, okay?
Carla, I have a question for you. Many campers are cooking along with us real time. If their syrup is not cooled yet, how much time should they wait? Should they wait just till it comes to room temperature, or does it have to be put into the refrigerator?
So, you know, if you're cooking in real time, if you have ice available, go ahead and make a water bath. So get a bowl and get another glass bowl. Maybe you have to put your blueberries into a smaller bowl, your blueberry mixture into a smaller bowl. Put some ice in there and water, and then add salt. The salt is going to make it really, really cold. So it's like when you're making ice cream. So get that water, that ice bath really cold. Set your bowl over top of that ice bath, and then just keep stirring it. And you know what? You only need about a half a cup. I would say take about a half a cup and put it in a bowl and let that half a cup cool quickly. And then you can let the other, that's just the part that you're going to have in your refrigerator. Okay. So that will cool fairly quickly. All right.
Great,
I'm glad. Thank you, Randy, for that. I'm glad you asked me that. Okay. So now I'm going to flip these over. Look at the color, you all. Look how beautiful. I mean, blue and red. Come on. Come on. I can, oh my God, that looks so good. So good. So good, right?
Beautiful.
Ah! Okay.
Beauty.
I'm like a big kid myself. I can't help it. We're going to flip these over. And if you notice, I didn't have a lot of blueberry. Try not to get it on the rind, because that's the part that you're going to be holding, and you don't want that to be all sticky. But I have a fix for that later too. So just be you. Be you. Why are you laughing, Randy?
I just love your energy. That's all. It makes me laugh. The color, the energy. Anna just wrote to tell us that she's using her leftover syrup to make kombucha.
Oh, Anna! What?
Way to go, Anna.
Anna. Oh my God. And Anna, you're gonna put some ginger in that? Oh, blueberry ginger kombucha? What?
I love that. Oh my gosh.
I love that. All right, so I go on the other side and I just dab, 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 dab. And if you get some of this blueberry simple syrup on the rind, just go back, and you can even do the sides if you want. I didn't worry about the sides, but you can if you want to. If you want to really get that edge clean, just go ahead and take another paper towel and just wipe it around the rind, just because you want to have something to hold, and you want it to look nice. I mean, if it's just for you, it's okay. But if you're going to do this with a party, come on. All right, cool. Now that's that. If you want to stick in a popsicle stick, don't get the ones that honestly, because I love craft, so I got these to make a marble run, but I just wanted to show you all this. But I wouldn't get the dyed ones for food, but I just wanted to show them to you. So what you do is you take a little knife, and this is the only one I have. So I'm gonna just show you one where get an adult to do this, because I don't want the knife to slip and cut your hand. Hold it down like this. Make sure that it's flat and safe. Make sure that whenever you're cutting something, that it is on a flat surface. So I turn this to a flat surface. Granted, this is round, and that's where the thing is. But whenever you're cutting something, and if it's round, if it's not sturdy and stable, it makes it dangerous. So make sure whatever you're cutting is on a flat surface. So I made a little cut there, okay? And then if you want, it's not required, you can take your popsicle stick and push it in there like that. So now I'm gonna have this little popsicle like this.
Oh, wow, that's nifty. That's cool. Love that.
Okay.
Wow.
All right. So oh my shoot, you know what I did? Oh no. I was supposed to save a quarter cup of blueberries. Did you all save blueberries? Oh man. Okay. Well, I was gonna save the blueberries because I was gonna cut them in half and make those blueberries my seeds.
Oh, cool.
Right?
Listen, they can use their imagination to do it themselves. That's
Yes.
Okay, so you say just cut them in half and then
Cut them in half and place them. So the ones that I pull out the freezer, they will have them. So I just put them like where the seeds would be, like 3 on each one, just on one side, because it's kind of cool. It's a blueberry, it's like a watermelon seed, and then you place those. And then Randy, now what I'm gonna do is just put these in the freezer.
Okay, well that's a perfect time for us to say a quick hello to somebody who I know you know. Jocelyn Delk Adams, you guys may know her from her award-winning cookbook, Grandbaby Cakes. She is a regular on Food Network shows and many, many, many other shows. She's here with one of her favorite summer treats. So campers, please give us a big warm welcome to Jocelyn.
Hey guys, it's Jocelyn Delk Adams of Grandbaby Cakes, and I am so excited to be here to share my Kool-Aid pie with you at Rachel Ray's Yummo Cooking Camp. This pie is so easy to make and so fun to make too. You're gonna need a couple ingredients. First, we need a graham cracker crust. You can get this from your grocery store already made, or you can prep this yourself with just some graham crackers and some melted butter and then press it right into your pie plate just like this. Then you can bake that off, or with the prepared one, you don't have to do a thing. Just grab it from the grocery store and then we're gonna get ready to make our filling. So we're gonna start with 1 cup of whipped cream. You can also get your refrigerated, whipped cream that they have in the grocery store to make this easier too. We're gonna add this to our big bowl. We're gonna also add some sweetened condensed milk, and this is gonna go right into our big bowl. You grab a jar of this or a container of this. You can find this right in your grocery store as well. In the baking aisle, you'll find that I love this so much because it adds so much richness, it adds a lot of flavor, and it adds just the perfect amount of sweetness to your dish. Next, we've got the main ingredient, which is Kool-Aid, right? This is so fun because you can pick any packet of flavor you like. I love this color. It's bright, it's fun. This is how it turned out for us. You can get purple, you can get green for lime. The sky is the limit. You can make this whatever you want and make it super fun. So we're gonna add that packet right into our mix. Look at all that color. So fun. And then we're just gonna fold all of this together. Now, you fold by using some type of spatula. You probably have this at home. And we just really want to start to whip all of the ingredients together and incorporate them pretty slowly. So I'm just doing this in a super simple fold of the whipped topping right into our Kool-Aid and right into our sweetened condensed milk. So this will keep your pie super light. It will make sure that you don't flatten all of that whipped texture, and it's going to create also a beautiful color. So once you get all of this whipped together super well, we're gonna put this right into our pie plate. Now, of course, if you need time, you want to make sure that you make this the day before. So this is pretty good. I think this is pretty whipped up well. Oh yeah. And we're gonna pour this right into our pie plate. This sets overnight. You can top it with whipped cream. You can top it with fruit, however you want to do it. You can top it with whatever. If you want to top it with sprinkles, do that. It's super fun. We're going to put this in the refrigerator, and this is going to stay in overnight until it sets. And you can also put it in the freezer. Put a little whipped cream on top it however you want. and then get ready to enjoy. Thank you guys so much. I hope you love this super easy and fun recipe.
Thank you, Jocelyn. Oh boy, I tell you, Carla, the theme of the day is color and summer and fun and ease.
Yes.
Kool-Aid pie. I mean, come on. Could you get any more
I mean,
appropriate summer?
it's amazing. It reminds me of when I was younger and we would take Kool-Aid and mix it in sugar and put it into a bag and stick our fingers in it. But that was so low tech compared to Jocelyn's beautiful and delicious looking pie.
Yeah, she did a great job. So how did you do? It looks like something snuck onto your counter there.
Yeah, well, you know, I had like, look, don't look at this. Those are all of my dishes in the sink. But it's so real. It's so real what happens at camp. So what I did, I went and grabbed my my pops, and these are some of the ones that I have on a stick, and they're all frozen, and they come right off of the paper, right?
Mm.
And you can see that I have those blueberry halves right on top that look like the seeds.
Yeah, those are great.
And these have to, it's so cute, right?
Wow.
They have to sit out just a little bit. So sit them out for like, I don't know, 15 minutes or so that the watermelon is not so hard, and then you're not going to, I moved my camera, so that's why now you're all close. Where you're not going to hurt your teeth, but I'm just going to take a nibble. Oh, it is so good. Y'all, Mom cannot be mad at you for eating these popsicles.
So true.
You're like, Mom, I'm eating fruit. Oh my God.
Those are, wow, that's great. What a
So
neat
great.
recipe.
Can I tell you one more thing, Randy? All right. So I decided to grab, we talked so much about like beverages and using the simple syrup. So I grabbed some ice. I'm going to take some lime, like half of lime. I have some mint. I'm going to take a leaf, slap it. So smack the mint. When you smack your herbs, you will smell all of those oils just go right up your nose, and it just activates those oils and deliciousness. Oh, that goes in there. Now I'm going to pour a little bit of the simple syrup in here, just a little bit. And then I have some sparkling water. And what I love about this is it doesn't have to be that much sugar. You do it to taste. And if you want to make it fancy, where you have your little lime here on the side, I'm just making this up as I go along because that's what I do, right? And then that is just so fun. And let me taste it. Oh, so good.
Wow,
So good.
that's a beautiful looking drink also. Carla, you just have brought so much color into our lives today, into our kitchen. I'm telling you, that's just beautiful to look at and looks delicious. And we have questions for you, so I don't want to let you go, but I want to give a really quick shout out today to the Boys and Girls Club of Benton County in Arkansas. They've distributed over 17,000 meals. They're giving back, they're building community and making the world a better place. Kudos to our friends in Benton County. Thank you guys for all that hard work. Here we go. We've got questions from all over, so I'm just going to pick them randomly. Okay. Oh, here's one that talks about your hometown. Kimberly wants to know, do you ever go back to Nashville to visit? And when you do go back, is there a type of food or a restaurant that you love to eat at?
So yes, I go back to Nashville. My mom is still there. So I go back at least once a year, sometimes twice. You know, there's a restaurant, when I go back home, I kind of want the food that reminds me of my childhood. It's really about an emotional connection. There's a restaurant called Monell's. It's in the Gulch, and they have different types of food, but I love sitting around a table with strangers, and you can eat as much as you want when you go to Monell's, but you can't take anything away. So there's a table of 12, there may be 4 of us, and we're sitting next to strangers, and the food always passes to the right. And you have to talk to a stranger to say, hey, will you pass the chicken? Hey, will you pass the potatoes? And I love that. And then I finish it with a cupcake of a little cupcake place around the corner.
Always chase with a cupcake. Zoe wants to know, what is it like to be on the set of Crazy Delicious, do you feel like you're in a fantasy world?
Yes, the set is amazing. So first of all, imagine that when you walk onto set, you know that it's television, but you actually smell the dirt. So there is dirt all on the floor and these little paths, and you have all of the produce, like the lemons and the squash, and then it is amazing. It is in this wonderland. I never got tired of it. I never lost that spark of like, wow, I am working in a wonderland. It was incredible. And there's the maple tree, which has a spigot, which will have maple syrup. And then there was the olive tree, which has a spigot, and olive oil comes out of it. And I think the byproduct, or the learning part of the show, which was a byproduct, is that kids or people got to see where your food actually comes from. So if they've never seen a lemon tree, if they've never seen, an olive tree or a maple tree, and for the contestants to go to these plants and get food, it's just really beautiful. And to see that the squash was on the ground, I absolutely loved it. And I thought it was such a special show. And even though you never got to see me in the swing, whenever I was by myself and we weren't shooting, I'm like, can I swing? Can I please swing?
Oh, that's great. Listen, I knew this question was going to come in. This is coming in from Mark. He wants to know what your most difficult challenge was on Top Chef. Of all the shows you were on, your most difficult challenge.
You know what? And you may be surprised, Mark. I didn't realize it at the time, but the most difficult, no, I felt that it was difficult. The most difficult one was season 8, Top Chef All Stars. And it was like a soul food challenge, like a Southern food. And because that's what I do, and that's very much a part of my point of view and just showing people about Southern food, it was really hard to get my mind to just focus on one thing. So I was so and it was my worst challenge. I think I was on the bottom. It was like Southern food, I was on the bottom. And it's because when you know something so well, one of two things can happen. Either you assume that you know it and you're just robotic about it, or there's so much going on in your head that you can't focus to actually do the challenge well. And that's what happened to me.
It's a great answer, and probably people are surprised by that. Okay, just a few others. Here's an interesting question. Darlene wants to know, did your background as an accountant help you in the kitchen?
Yes. And I'm going to bring up Top Chef again, because as an accountant and details and making lists and Excel sheets and all of that. So I do a lot of my shopping and creating with Excel. When I was on Top Chef and I had to make a grocery list, I was so used to compartmentalizing things. So, and I still do this very day. I visualize the store and I'm like, okay, produce, and I make a list. I make dairy, meat. I go down and like miscellaneous, baking. I go down in the sections of the grocery store. I make those headings, and then I make my list according to those headings. Because for me, it's about efficiency and numbers. For me, it's about efficiency when you lean into the order of things. And so that comes from my accounting background.
That's great. Okay. 2 more questions. Here's one, somebody who has your book that they want a little direction on. She's asking, is there a recipe in your soul food cookbook that you would recommend for a younger camper, younger cook to try out to get started?
Yes. Right now, summertime, and this may be something that you're like, oh, I don't know if I want to do that. The okra, and you don't have to use okra, but there is a chunky tomato soup with roasted okra. And I love this recipe because the ingredients are straightforward. You can get them at any grocery store. But 2, you're building flavors. You're only using water. The aromatics go in the pot, and you're making this very brothy soup with water. And then you're roasting the okra. But the okra could be zucchini. It could be yellow squash. It could be eggplant. It could be any vegetable. And you're tossing the chopped vegetables in oil and roasting them in the pan, in the oven at high temperature, and season them. And so when they come out and you have that bowl of soup, and it's very brothy, so it's still good for summer. And when you drop that charred and roasted vegetables, and make sure that you get the char because there's flavor in the brown, it permeates that broth, and it becomes, honestly, the soup becomes greater than the sum of its parts. And I think it's such a great way to teach a young person flavor. There's not a lot of cutting involved. And I think it'll be a really good one.
Well, that's great. And then let's end on this, Carla, because you've been so gracious with your time. You've given us so much of it, and I know you have a lot going on. And you're talking about young people trying new recipes. This question has come in for almost every counselor, and that is, what is one lesson that you would want to impart on a young person just getting interested in the kitchen, wanting to really explore food as maybe something professional or just as a hobby? What is the one character or one skill that you think translates the best for those young people who are just getting started in the kitchen?
I think it's discipline. I really think it's discipline. Oh my God, I can go in so many different directions. It's like that soul food. But get to know your palate. A lot of times when you're learning to cook, it's all about the pizzazz, and people want to make the hard thing, but they forget about the technique. You can't skip over technique to get to something that looks impressive. So understanding your palate, understanding knife skills and all of that. And when I say understanding palate, I'm just going to take that one. Everybody, in order to understand sweet, salty, sour, bitter, and I'm not even talking about umami, grab a cup of water, and for 4 cups with a cup of water each. In the sweet one, you're going to put you're going to keep adding half teaspoons of sugar until you taste it, until it's at your threshold. For salty, you're going to add half teaspoons of salt until it gets your threshold. For bitter, use something like baking powder, baking soda, because that's bitter, right? For sour, you can use lemon juice, half teaspoons. And when you do that and you understand your threshold of those flavors, then you can start to play. Then what I want you to do is mix and match. So if you don't like bitter, I don't like bitter, but I like sour, I like sweet. Then you start mixing, like how much of the sweet do you need to add to bitter to make it tolerable? When you understand in those simple terms how your palate works, because everybody doesn't like sour, everybody doesn't like sweet, everybody doesn't like salty. You will know why you like something and why you don't. And then after you do all of that, then get ingredients that are sweet, sour, salty, bitter, so you can play.
Well, Carla, that was an absolute perfect ending, a master's class definition of something that I think campers will be really lucky to have in their minds and in their hearts. You have been an absolute pleasure to be with. Everything about today's session was watermelonicious and blueberry-licious and everything else-licious. Thanks for bringing your great skill, your great passion, your always creative energy and your creativity to us at camp today. We couldn't give you a bigger thank you.
Aww.
Love you, and thanks for being with us today. So appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.